It's been a pretty crazy July for the year of 2025. There's Ozzy Osbourne, and now there's also the Hulkster. For this portion, I'm going to just talk about Hulk Hogan. And I feel really mixed when it comes to Hulk Hogan because I know that a lot of his career was built off the backs of others that he sacrificed. So I'm not going to just make this a gushing video of the just over complimentation of this guy. He's contributed a lot to wrestling. There's no doubt about that. He is the reason why the WWF and the WWE are where they are today. He brought wrestling into mainstream. Don't get me wrong on that. But he's done a lot of shitty stuff and a lot of shady stuff. In fact, he's the reason why wrestlers are still independent contractors by his betrayal of Jesse Ventura and others back in the day, because he prevented them from unionizing by telling Vincent McMahon about the movement to try to do so. And so he screwed over so many people, wrestlers back then, all the way to now, because of that. And that's unforgivable, and I won't forget that. And that will always be a blemish on his record. In addition to that, he's known for using creative control to his advantage and screwing others over for his own benefit, even though he's more than wealthy. Even back then, he was the highest paid wrestler. Another blemish, unforgivable, unexcusable. But at the same time, he's done a lot of good in this world. He's brought a lot of benefits to the wrestling world too. So that's why I always feel so mixed when it comes to the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, Terry, however you want to say his name. Because as much good as he's done, he's also done quite a lot of bad things. So I'm trying to be balanced here, where I feel bad that he died from cardiac arrest at the age that he did. And he has such a storied career. He definitely has a storied career, no doubt about that. But at the same time, I just have a hard time fully committing to being completely like, ooh, yeah, and just gushing out and being this and that, because I know all the accomplishments that he's done. I know all the good that he's done, and all the people that he's inspired even. You know, a lot of today's wrestlers wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, you know. So we have a lot to thank Hulk Hogan for, but at the same time, he's done so many crappy things. It just makes it so hard to be like, oh yeah, great guy all around, because I know he's not that great. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, he's done a lot of good, but he's also done a hell of a lot of bad too. Professionally and unprofessionally, inside the ring, outside the ring. Now, I'll say he's probably done more good than he's done bad, but there's just this the shadow that's over top of him that is just sacrificing others for his benefit. I mean, his actions to betray the locker room and Jesse Ventura is still affecting wrestlers today, while they have a hard time paying off their basic needs and medical needs. Terry Hulk Hogan was raking in the cash, and because of Hulk's actions, they cannot unionize, and so everyone's still a 1099, and it really has affected a lot of people, unfortunately. And I just can't get over that, because with every good that he does, it seems like just he's done so many big bad things that have been long lasting that it's just so hard for me to go one way or the other. So I'm just bringing them both up, you know. He brought into a lot of good things, so I'll try to focus more on that, because I don't want to speak ill of the dead. So with that said, you know how I feel about him in general, so I'll just focus on the good from here. So, just from a personal level, the first time that I knew about Hulk Hogan was way back in the 2000s, the early 2000s, when he came back to wrestling. And predominantly, I would say the thing that sticks in my head the most would be when he was doing the whole NWO thing, where Vince was injecting the NWO as a poison into the wrestling world. But I know he had other things like with Brock Lesnar and whatnot, but the thing that really sticks with me the most is The Rock, Hulk Hogan, their battles, and how he ran a vehicle into the ambulance that The Rock was in. I was so young at the time, I thought it was real, and I was like, oh no! It's funny. Then other times was when The Undertaker was riding his motorcycle pulling Hulk Hogan while Hulk Hogan's leg was wrapped up and stuff, and just and then of course, you know, just the occasions that Hulk Hogan would show up after he officially was done, you know, really full-timing it. I also momentarily got into TNA for a while, and I know he was a big part of that as well, especially with the whole Dixie Carter thing. And so there's a lot of places that I remember him in from a personal level and how entertaining he was, and of course he's known for having a bigger-than-life personality and charisma, and these are all great things to have because it brings great attention to the world wrestling entertainment world, and professional wrestling as a sport as a whole, really. So, you know, I'm pretty cool with that aspect, and I'm glad that I got to be in the era of wrestling that I was when he was around doing that stuff, and that I got to, as it happened, watch it type thing. You know, now I can look back on it and be like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know, but I literally got to watch per episode as these things happened, and nowadays people can't say that because they weren't born yet, or they were even younger than I was and didn't even know about it, you know. So I'm pretty honored to be able to say that I got to watch Hulk Hogan per episode as it actually happened, kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. So I have a lot of fond memories when it comes to Hulk Hogan, and a lot of the wrestling moments that I got to watch during his tenure, TNA and WWF/WWE. And of course there's that iconic moment of him, you know, body slamming Andre the Giant. You know, we can't forget that, obviously. So there's a lot of great memories that I have of Hulk Hogan and his contributions to the wrestling world of professional wrestling. And I know that he did a lot of guest appearances and things like that, and showed up for events and, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. And then he launched out his own beer, apparently, and that's pretty cool. And unfortunately, during the end of his living days, he got into politics, which I can understand that he, as an American, has every right to have his political affiliations, but unfortunately that caused quite a divide in the people and wrestling world as a whole, because there used to be fans of his that now absolutely hate his guts because of the fact that he sided with the Republican side, i.e. Trump. And while I don't personally care about politics of celebrities, I do acknowledge that this unfortunately had a divide for the others that do, because they're so weak-minded that if they're not on the same team or political team as the others, then that instantly makes them have a hissy fit because they're so weak-minded. All in all, I would have to say that Hulk Hogan did more good than he did bad, and that we as fans have to thank him for a lot of his contributions and a lot of what he has done for the world of professional wrestling. And even though he's done a lot of bad, we also have to acknowledge that he's inspired a lot of wrestlers of today, tomorrow, and yesterday. So I'm sure that SmackDown, Raw, TNA, Impact, and New Japan Wrestling, all of them have to thank and appreciate, or at the very least acknowledge, all of what Hulk Hogan has done for the world of professional wrestling, and thank him and appreciate him for bringing the attention that he has done, because without Hulk Hogan there wouldn't be the mainstream professional wrestling in the world that we have today. And so with that, I too thank Hulk Hogan, and I hope that those that are of his family and close friends are able to grieve and get through this. And I wish everyone best in their future endeavors. Until next time.